Alright, YouTube, it is Mr. Mean coming at you the day after Christmas. It is about 8:45 p.m. I hope everyone had a fantabulous Christmas, and hopefully your New Year's will be excellent. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way. First and foremost, like and subscribe. It helps out the channel. We are over 600 subscribers, so let's keep the Meanie Army rocking. I'm on ZellyPay if you wish to donate to the channel. It's a built-in app on your mobile banking if you're here in the U.S. If you're outside of the U.S. and you want to send a donation, all you have to do is go to PayPal, Pay Me, John Polak. There's a link on my YouTube webpage. It's a tiny little icon over there on the right. I can't control that. That's YouTube. But anyway, all the donations go back into the channel, so thank you guys very much. Let's do some other housekeeping here real quick. We got some new subscribers. I want to give a shout out to Leslie Schaefer. I'm not sure if that's a male or a female, but anyway, Leslie, thank you so much for subscribing. New subscriber, Project Zeker, thank you. And Jackson Malloy, big shout out to you guys for subscribing. I thank you. It means a lot that you allow me into your homes. That sounds creepy, but we are sitting at 606 subscribers, with Jackson Malloy being the 606th subscriber. So Jackson, thank you so much, my friend. I hope you enjoy the channel and you like what you see. Tell your friends, subscribe, have your friends subscribe. Let's grow the channel. Let's make it a Meanie Army. So, a couple of things. We're going to be all over the place tonight. I haven't done a decent long video in a while, and this one may go a bit. So, I'm really not big on putting timestamps down there, but we're going to be all over the place. First of all, a lot of you may or may not know that I'm a miniatures geek as well. I use a lot of minis in my fantasy games. I use some sci-fi minis if I happen to have appropriate minis. But I've always been a big fan of several Games Workshop. I mean, I've been a huge Necromunda fan since it came out. I stopped playing 40K and went exclusively to Necromunda. I had a Van Saar gang, the original Van Saar gang, and loved it. I mean, I played those guys. Every chance I could get, I would play them. But unfortunately, you know, life takes you on crazy journeys and events, and I lost my miniatures in one of my moves, and I just never had the money to replace them or the time or inclination to go back and you know, reinvest. And then of course the game kind of went by the wayside, and then of course in 2018 they re-released it. I left my core rulebook at work, but I've got the new, well, sorry guys, I got the Palanite Enforcers. I'm a former law enforcement officer, so of course anything to do with law enforcement, I really checks a box for me, I guess. And so the Palanite Enforcers for Necromunda are like the police force of the Hive. So very cool there. I got 8 out of the 10 miniatures mostly assembled. This is like my leader. It's kind of hard to see. And like I said, we're going to be all over. We're going to be talking role-playing games, and we're going to be talking some miniatures. But these are awesome miniatures. I got mine on eBay for like $30, so about $10 cheaper than what you can buy them from Games Workshop, but very super quality. The torso comes in 2 pieces. You glue the legs and you glue the arms, and then you glue the hands on. So super cool miniatures. If you're looking for some good sci-fi police force type miniatures, these guys are great. You know, and I'm all about the miniatures and everything, but you know, let's not forget flat plastic miniatures. I love these guys. Arknight Studio, they make these. They're, when you consider the cost and how much you get for them, it's well worth your bang for the buck. They come with bases. You have to buy the bases, and they just pop right off. You know, you can put them back on the base relatively simply. And of course, I'll have a heart. There we go. It just clicks right back in. So, and we're going to touch back on that in a second. But big, huge fan of Necromunda. I did pick up the Book of Ruin, which is the Chaos, because I'm also a huge fan of Chaos. So definitely looking forward to playing some more Necromunda. My local game store, Level Up Games, is going to be, after the first of the year, is kicking off a campaign. So I'm trying to get these guys at least table ready to play, because I want to play in a campaign of the new Necromunda. I mean, I bought all the stuff. I wanna use it. I also was down in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, a couple months ago, and some small game store was going out of business, and so I was able to pick up the core rulebook for Warcry. I think this is the one out of the box set when you buy the box set. I'm not sure because I don't see a price on here, and usually GW is good about putting prices on their books. But I picked it up for like $30. It's normally like a $50 rule book. It's full color. It's very, obviously it's a very glossy softback book. They also had some miniatures, so you can use orcs, and these Iron Skull boys, in my opinion, are some really, really nicely sculpted miniatures. They you don't even have to use glue, which is nice. You can kind of put them together like that. I don't need the cards in here. I don't need any of the others. I just need the miniatures because there's rules in here to use orcs. So super excited about that. So that's some miniature stuff coming on the horizon that I'm working on, and maybe I'll try to show off. There's my Necromunda box set, the Palanite Enforcer Patrol. And then I got the cards on eBay or Amazon, I think, for eight or I think $12. I paid $12 for the cards. So, and they're in several different languages, but then there's the character cards and the main stat card for the dice. So super cool stuff. Like I said, I'm not a huge Games Workshop fan, but there are some of their games I like. I was watching a couple of videos on Warcry, and I really kind of like the speed of the play, and for lack of a better word, just dumbed down mechanics. The cards have no words on them, which is in a way kind of cool. Yeah, that's a card. There's no words on there. It's all. I mean, that's everything you need. There's their movement. Let's see, what is it? There's their movement, their defense, and their health, and then so a couple of icons tell you what they are. He has a melee attack, he has a ranged attack, his strength, and his damage 3 or 6. So it's pretty. It doesn't get any simpler than that, guys. If you haven't checked out Warcry, give it a try. If you really want to play a good game, though, check out Necromunda. It's a phenomenal game. I am so excited to start playing again and painting those miniatures. I'm very, very excited. I have a friend with an airbrush, and he's been kind of showing me how to use the airbrush, and I gotta say I'm sold. Even if I only invest in it just to prime models, it'll be totally worth it. And there's some relatively inexpensive airbrushes out there. Our local Hobby Lobby and Michaels sells them, and I think Hobby Lobby has or Michaels, one of the two, has crazy discounts, like 50% off of one item. So I can go in there and get an $80 airbrush, entry-level airbrush for $80. I can get it for $40. So that's awesome. But most of my viewers are all about the RPG, the tabletop RPG, and I don't want to alienate or leave you guys out. So we're going to go over some little things that I do to make my GMing life easier. First and foremost, we are an electronically connected society now. Really, 3 out of my 5 players have either a tablet or a cell phone at the table that their character sheets are on. It used to be, I'm a grognard. I come back from the days when it was pen and paper and a GM and a screen, and you turned the TV off and maybe you had some music on in the background, but there was no distractions. And now you can't get away from it. Everybody's got their nose stuck in a cell phone. I do go to the point to tell my players, hey, keep the phone usage down to a minimum. It's very disrespectful to be texting your friends while you're in the middle of a gaming session where everybody else is giving their undivided attention. You can at least do the same. Your friends will still be there 2, 3, 4 hours later. And if it's really important, they'll call and say, hey, it's important. And that's one thing. But that's just good gamer etiquette, I think. And, if you go to somebody's house, not to sit there with your nose buried in your phone. I think that's disrespectful. That's just me. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but I just did. So, number one tool for me is either a laptop or a tablet. I had an iPad years ago, and I loved it. but it just got so outdated and it was so slow and bloated and it couldn't be updated anymore and I couldn't use it anymore. So I sold it to somebody who needed it for their kid and it worked out great. But I really wanted another iPad. I like the environment of the iPad. I like the use of it, and I've tried a couple other tablets, and they don't compare. The Android tablets, they may be slick, they may be new, they may be cool. The Apple iPad is, bar none, it's the best tablet out there. I mean, if you're a diehard Android fan, then of course you're going to say the Samsung or the Google, is your favorite, and that's fine. I've used both, and I'm a Mac guy. I have a MacBook Pro. I have an iPhone. My work pays for my phone, so I'm not an iPhone guy. I prefer Android over iPhone, but it's a free phone, so I don't have to pay for it. But the iPad, I think, is an indispensable tool if you're a GM. Matt Mercer uses one. I've been GMing longer than he's been alive, but he does use one, and he does Sirenscape on it, which I think is super cool. And I had forgot that years ago when Sirenscape first came out, I had got it, and I forgot. And so I was happening to go through my iTunes library, and I saw that Sirenscape was one of the apps in my library, my online library. And so I downloaded it, and it still works, believe it or not. It's still some of my music in there. So my plan is to get a decent Bluetooth speaker that I can sit in the middle of the table, and then, of course, fire this up and use it, because Matt Mercer and several other GMs, the Dice Stormers, they're Australian guys that run a bunch of games, have a YouTube channel. Go check them out. They're super awesome. If you watch Critical Role, you probably already know about them because you're in that environment. But anyway, this is an indispensable tool. I keep copies of my PDF. I have all my Pathfinder stuff on here. I can look up rules real quick. I'm very happy with it. So, and actually, I've been kind of looking for a good PDF viewer on the iPad. So far, Foxit is utter garbage, and I'm a huge Foxit fan. I use it on my MacBook Pro, and I use it on my Windows 10 PCs, and I use it on my Linux PC. But it's garbage on the iPad. I've been using, I don't know what it's called on the Mac, if it's Books. What is it called? Reading Now? Yeah, I guess it's whatever this app is. I don't even know what it's called. But you can see I've got a ton of RPGs in there already. And it works really great. Now, I'm sure there's a better app or whatever to use. So that's one of the things that I find indispensable as a GM. I did get a iPad Air 2019 version. I got a Samsung, or it's an aftermarket pencil, but it works just fine with this. And the case is from Poetic. It was like a $10 case. Got to protect your iPad. These things are expensive. I got mine on a Black Friday sale, and I got super lucky because I got it for the cost of the basic iPad. This is a $500 iPad, and I got it for $300. So that's a deal to me. So anyway, iPad, indispensable tool for GMing and or playing, because you can keep your character sheets on there. The other thing I do is I use a GM screen. I just like using a GM screen. I like having that information at my fingertips. But one of the things I do is it's always been a challenge for initiative for me. You can write it down, but I feel you're constantly looking down at your chart or your table, and you're taking your attention away from the players. And I think players subtly pick up on that. Why is the GM not engaging us visually? He keeps looking down behind his screen, and you never want to say, oh, is he cheating? But it's like, oh, is he devising ways to destroy us, or is he manipulating the rules, and he needs to read up on it and figure out what's what? No, it's the GM is distracted, and he's looking down, or she is looking down at her notes. Which again, the iPad is good because it can sit up behind your GM screen or a laptop, and you can read your notes off of it while you're kind of still facing the players. I think that's an invaluable tool. I think eye contact in tabletop RPGs and GM investment, as well as the player investment, is very, very important. Really, you get a lot of role playing in by the temperament of the attitude of your players, and they in turn get it from you, from your expressions and your temperament and your attitudes when you're running the game. But one of the little tools I do to help me with initiative is, and there's tons of these on the market. You can buy them. You can go on Etsy. You can go on Pinterest, and you can find them. I just use I have a paper cutter that I bought off of Amazon, and I use index cards, and I cut them. So I turn this into this, and then what I do is and you can see I've got a bunch here. These are a whole bunch of different monsters and NPCs and stuff that I need quick stats for. The other thing I do is I print the full page out of in this case I'm running Pathfinder, so the bestiary or the monster manual, if you're running D&D or whatever game you're playing, I print the page because I have 99% of all my physical books are also in PDF. So I'll either photocopy or print it from the PDF, the monsters page or the creatures page from the book, and then I convert the more relevant stats to these little things, and I hang them over. You can't see it, but I hang them over my GM screen. So the name of the critter or whatever is facing the players, and then I have all the stats on the back, or the pertinent stats that I need. So in this case, this is a caustic wolf. There's one of them. It's in the Fall of Plaguestone, which is an adventure I ran my players through. It tells me what page it's on, how many hit points it has. It's immune to acid, its melee attacks, its damage, and it has damage, acid damage, and it also knocks you down. So, and I just hang this, so this back part is facing me and the front part is facing the players. And then, I'll have, here's zombies. So I'll have these like this, and as the initiative goes, I just move them down my GM screen. I find that it's zippity quick, and it keeps my focus looking up at the players, and I very rarely have to look at the monster printout. I just have the printout in case there's extra rules or abilities and or conditions that I need to be aware of that obviously can't all fit on here. The other big thing I use is I find myself getting away from the plastic 3D pre-printed miniatures, and I have a buttload of them, but you got to dig through them. You got to find the right one. They take up so much space. I have a huge Tupperware bowl or tote full of all these miniatures, and I can never find the ones I want. I've even gone so far as to segregate them into Ziploc bags, so zombies, dwarves, elves, but then there's some monsters that just you can't categorize that way, so they're just thrown in the bin, and I have to go dig through it every time I'm trying to find them. Like one of my adventures, I had an Udiug in there, and it took me 20 minutes to dig it out. Now, and I try to pre-prep before my adventures, but I went to these flat plastic miniatures. I have a review up of these guys. You can see here's a zombie, and they're cool because they're printed on the front and the back. I just did a Kickstarter for skinny minis, and while flat plastic miniatures are awesome and I highly recommend them for the price, they're a little bit steep for what you get, but you do get a lot of bang for your buck. But their assortment is limited at best. Now, in their defense, it's two guys working out of a garage. They physically manipulate some sort of printer, and I'm assuming it's a plotter, and they manipulate it to print on this acrylic, which you can hear. It's pretty thick, and they print on it front and back. And there's a lot of finagling that goes on to get this thing to print, and then they have these acrylic things. I'm sure they have a laser cutter or some sort of cutter in their garage, so they print these at their leisure, and then they ship them out to people as they order. They're always having specials and sales go on. If you get any of the dungeon crates or any of those monthly crates, a lot of times you'll get samples in there, which I think is super cool, and that's actually how I found out about them. So I wholeheartedly recommend these. I think they are fantastic. But then I was trolling Kickstarter, and I saw skinny minis. They're out of their Kickstarter's finished. I backed it at a very modest, I think $60. which is going to get me well over $100 worth of stuff because of all the stretch goals that they've met and everything. And I gotta say, they put these to shame. These are great. They look awesome. I love the fact that they're front and back, so you've got your facing. They're super light. I have them sorted in Ziploc bags. The bases are in a separate bag. I think go back in my archives and watch my review of these. Amazing. Very cool. And like I said, I print up just a scrap piece of paper, hanging over my GM screen. I got the miniature out on the table. I'm good to go. So that's very cool. But check out Skinny Mini. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at the quality and what you're getting, the bang for the buck. And the cool part is right now, they're still in their Kickstarter phase. I don't think the Skinny Minis come out until after April of 2020 is I think when they're scheduled to ship. Hopefully they'll be on time. I've been trying to keep up with their website, and I don't think they've mentioned any kind of horrendous delays or anything. So I'm super excited for that. There was something else I want. Oh, we were talking about the other space time saving. I also have a little notebook, just your cheap little notebook that you can buy anywhere. And I use that to keep notes. I jot down before every session. I might take a 3x5 card, or in my notebook I'll write down some NPC names just in case I need names if the players want to talk to guard A, and inevitably they'll go, oh, what's his name or her name, and you're like, you've got to come up with a name on the fly. I just have to look down. I think the current list of names I have is on a post-it note, and it's stuck on the inside of my GM screen, just so that I have a list of names, and I refresh it as need be. And if it turns out to be an important NPC for whatever reason, I'll add that to my little GM notebook later with some more information for that character. So those are just a couple of the things that help get me through my sessions. Obviously, the more GM prep you put in, the better your games will be. I think that goes without saying. But one of the things that I would want to impress upon new GMs or aspiring GMs is that players will do the exact opposite of whatever it is you want them to do, and they don't even know they're doing it. They are also their own worst enemies. It's very evident. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch like Monster of the Week, any YouTube shows of Monster of the Week, any of the Powered by the Apocalypse type games, Uncharted Worlds, Dungeon World, Scum and Villainy. Players will inevitably make their life harder for the sake of the story, and they'll do it willingly, which I think is just amazing that players want to be confronted. They want conflict. They want challenges in their game, and so they will seek them out. You can give them the easiest cake run, and they will find a way to make it difficult. So it's the way players work. It's an amazing thing. What's some of the other things? Ziploc bags. I mentioned it before. These things are your friend. These are great for just putting in a couple spare pencils, some tokens, whatever you need. You'll have it. It's just, I know it sounds so stupid, but it's, and I didn't even think about plastic bags. My wife is the queen of Ziploc bags. She uses them for everything, and I was like freaking out about tokens for one of my games. She's like, well, just put them in a Ziploc bag. And it was like an epiphany. It was like, mind blown. Who would have thunk, right? I'm on Amazon looking for token holders, that I would have paid $20 for, that I would only, use for that one game. And she's like, just put it in a Ziploc bag. Amazing. Saved money. Crazy. Then I got yelled at for burning up all of her, using all of her Ziploc bags. So it is what it is. A printer. That's another useful thing. Remember I was talking about that I was printing out the monster sheets from the bestiary or the monster manual. I just print this out so that I have a list of all their stats and their abilities and everything that I can't fit on my little card hangers that I put on my GM screen. Some people like to work from the method of having the players keep track of initiative. I find that too distracting for the players. The players have enough to do with figuring out what they're going to do next, their strategies, their abilities, and keeping initiative is just one more thing to tack on for them. And some people say, oh, well, it's easy. The players don't have as much work to do as the GM. But characters have infinitely more abilities than the GM's characters do. A monster stat line has a couple of abilities. A player has a plethora of abilities that they have to know and keep track of and be prepared and look them up if they haven't had them memorized yet. So I think that's not fair to the players to give them extra work. It's this process of hanging the little name tags on my GM screen works great for me. The Pathfinder GM screen has a lot of great useful information in it, but some of it is not relevant to me and to my style of GMing. Like, I needed to know the year and the days of the week and the seasons, which are in the World of Glorantha, or whatever, the World Atlas. That's one of the newer books that's out right now for Pathfinder. It's not on the GM screen, so I covered up something on the GM. Oh, the skill tree, because I have the characters for skills. They are going to tell me what skills. If I don't know what a skill does, or I'm thinking in D&D terms and I need to be in Pathfinder skill terms, the players are going to give me that information. And for our team, it doesn't distract us too much to do that. And some players don't like those kind of distractions, but my team, my players are pretty good about it. So those are little things that help me run the game and make it just a little easier for me. But for the future, we're going to see some painting. I'm hoping to set my camera up in such a way that I can paint on stream, and then maybe I'll put like up an hour or 2 hour stream of me painting miniatures. I am, in by way, no shape or form, a master painter, but I can hold my own. I can make them tabletop ready, so I want to paint those Necromundians. I want to paint those Palanite Enforcers on screen if I can, or at least paint one or two of them. So yeah, so that's what's coming down the line before we jump into 2020. Is we're going to get maybe in a little Warcry. I don't know how soon that'll happen, but I know Necromunda is going to happen right after the first of the year. And what I might try to do is take a couple pictures at the gaming store, and then I'll put them up here on the channel, and then I'll just narrate over it and kind of give you a brief synopsis. They might be like 20, 30-minute videos for those that are interested in the Necromunda, which, who knows? If that's your kind of thing, obviously let me know down in the notes below. I don't see the need to start a second channel. One of my friends is like, oh, you should do a second channel. But I'm like, there's a lot of work that goes into just maintaining one channel, ripping these videos and then converting them. And I don't even do any editing because I'm just too lazy and I'm tired, and I work on a computer all day at work. I don't want to come home and do work. So these videos are usually the talking head syndrome, which not everybody likes, but at least 605 of you do. And I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. So that's just a couple little things I wanted to go over. I did see the new Star Wars movie. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I was thoroughly entertained. My wife really enjoyed it. And I thought it was a good movie. I liked the way it ended. If they make spin-offs from it, great. If they don't, I'm happy with the way it ended. And all I can say is go see it and form your own opinion. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and I don't need yours. I just want to see for myself and enjoy it. I'm a huge Angry Joe fan, for those of you that also follow the channel, and Angry Joe hated it. So I only watched about a third of his review, and I couldn't watch it anymore because I said it's going to jade me, and I want to form my own opinion. And so I went and saw the movie with my wife on Monday, and like I said, we thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I like where they went. I like the storyline. I'm loving The Mandalorian. I have just binge watched The Witcher with Henry Cavill. I think it's really well done. I want to read the books now because I am so interested in. I've played the video game. And the TV series on Netflix is not based off the video game, so If you're going into it expecting the video game, you're going to be very, very disappointed. It is based off of the novels, so I'm definitely going to see if I can find those novels, add them to my iPad, and read them at my leisure. I've already finished season 1 of The Witcher, so who knows how long it'll be before season 2 is up. I would imagine sometime towards the end of next year, because I'm sure they're filming it. But so that's really about it, guys. I'm just kind of babbling at this point. I wanted to get a video up. I really thought this was going to go a lot longer, but we're only at the 30-minute mark, so we're doing okay. Necromunda's coming on the channel. Warcry may come on the channel. It's not going to take over. I'm not going to become a Games Workshop channel. That's not going to happen. But I do enjoy those 2 games. I don't know if I enjoy Warcry, but like I said, I picked up everything for dirt cheap, so I do want to give it a try. And I'll let you guys know how it goes if that's your sort of thing. If you're interested, let me know. And like I said, I'll post a little bit more information. Maybe I'll put up some pictures. I just remembered the other thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to minimize this. And I'm sorry that I haven't shared my screen. I should have set this up properly. But my friend James Gantry over at Feral Games Inc. I don't know when this was posted, but I got an email from Drive-Thru RPG for this happens every single time. This locks up for what Foxit. When I'm running OBS and I fire up Foxit, for whatever reason, Foxit crashes. So I can't get it. It's an expansion for Delve. It's 3 adventures in Delve. They look amazing. Like I said, Delve reminds me of grinding gear games. God, I can't think of it. See, it's still locking up on me. I don't know what it is about this stupid Foxit and OBS, but anyway, I don't have the full title because I can't open it. I can't see it. But on Drive-Thru RPG right now, there is an expansion of 3 adventures for the Delve tabletop RPG, which in my opinion is a pretty solid game. If you haven't seen my review, go back in the archive and check it. This is 3 adventures. It appears to be very well written. I kind of glanced through it today at work. Like I said, I got an email from Drive-Thru RPG telling me it was on sale for $3.55, so I picked it up. And so far it looks really good. I'm going to do a more thorough review of it after I've had a chance to read it and look at it a little bit more. But it's really sparking me. I think Delve is a neat a neat tabletop RPG game. It's not super serious. It's not super grimdark, but it's dark enough. It's not in league with like Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, but it's close. And I kind of like it. You wake up on an island, and it's all about surviving that and dealing with it. And there's a random generation chart for what's in your pocket, which I just think is cool. I think it's funny. I think it's neat. The game doesn't take itself too super serious. But yeah, go in the archives and check out my review of Delve by Feral Games Inc. Mr. James Gantry and his crew did an amazing job, and it looks pretty sharp. I like the art that's in it. It follows the same theme that's in the Delve Core rulebook, which I do have a hard copy of up there on the GM screen. James did send me a copy of it, so I'm very grateful for him for that. And he says there's something coming in the post for me for something else, and I forgot what it is. But there will be a review. It's the proof copy. He sends me those, which is very nice of him, and I really do appreciate it. And I'll do a review of that when it comes. So anyway, guys, that's just the ramblings. I wanted to spit out a video before the new year, and then I'll get one out after the new year. So that's what's coming to the channel in the new year. A little Necromunda, possibly some Warcry, and of course we'll continue the tabletop RPG reviews and other things that we might get that are related to tabletop RPGs and their genre. So guys, I hope you found some information in this useful. I hope you enjoyed your time hanging out with me on the day after Christmas. Hope you had wonderful holidays, and I hope your holidays to come will be amazing. And from my family to your family, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and everybody remember, I always say it, you know what's coming. Be nice.